So, it's interesting because I often get the question, I think we all have, you've probably thought about it, AnnaClare, how many versions of my resume do I need?
Right.
Do you have one right now?
I have so many.
Yeah, so has he seen the others?
No.
No.
Well,
What do they... So it's an interesting question.
yeah.
I have mixed views on it. If it's distinctive, it's this or it's that. But I think to the theme I think you're on, slight iterations of a current resume or the generic resume with a well-written cover letter that allows you to elaborate, right? I'm a fan of 70% of cover letters, roughly, can be generic and allow you to come alive, but the other 30%, roughly, should be customized, right?
Yeah. And I'm of the opinion, look, it's great that you really have this passion for entertainment, but I would lean hard into your editorial experience.
Okay.
Because once you maintain that role, it's going to be easier for you to move throughout, change departments perhaps, or even go for other roles. And you can take some time and work on the side. Now is a big thing is side gigs, right?
Yeah.
So take your experience, volunteer for some entertainment organizations, or do some side work, continue editing books for people like me.
You did a very good job at editing your book.
Awesome.
I must say, yeah.
We're already halfway through the second book. I want you
Oh
to
my
know.
goodness.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
my editor will be on that soon. But yeah, no. The idea is lean hard into something that will get you into your first full-time role,
Okay.
right? And then you can take that time to learn, to really focus on where you want to be.
Sure.
But you're in the industry. You're in the game.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you told us in our prep for today, you think you're a pretty good interviewee. How would you rate yourself 0 to 10 on that, and why?
Oh, I mean,
10 being best, obviously.
yeah, maybe like a 7.
All right. So what are the aspects that give you the 7, and where are the opportunities to make it a 9? If you think about the whole interview process, right? Getting the interview and preparing for the interview and executing the interview well. Think about it in those segments.
Okay. So, what was the first one? Preparing for the...
Getting.
Getting
is the hardest.
Yeah.
It is
part,
the
right?
hardest, yeah. Can be.
I mean, I think I've been pretty lucky with the interviews I've gotten because they were, none of them were, the applications, none of them were through like a job portal. They were all emailed. And so I think that that's kind of worked to my advantage. I know that it's like less people are doing it, and it's going straight to someone who's going to see it. But I do think I write a pretty strong cover letter. That's where I feel the most, I think that's where I am the most persuasive, I
You're a
guess,
good
when
writer,
it comes
right,
to...
Right, you can distinguish yourself
Sure.
in the written word.
Yeah, and so that, I think, is the thing that maybe has gotten me the interviews.
Right. But I'm going to take a half a step back.
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt there.
No.
Through random application or leveraging a connection or networking possibility, or both?
Well, the first 2 interviews I got were just me submitting the application.
Random. Wow.
And then the interview I got for that I had this morning, I had actually emailed the company or this person who interviewed me in November, being like, I'm really interested in the work that you're doing, and I was wondering if you had any assistant positions available and or would be open to doing an informational interview with me.
You did that
That's
a couple weeks ago, or?
I did that in November.
Oh, November.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I heard from her end of last week or beginning of last week.
After you probably said, this person's ghosting me.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And she had said,
You never know.
I kept
True.
your resume. I saw it.
Nice.
I have an assistant position opening. My assistant right now is leaving in May, and I would love to talk to you. And so
Great.
that, I think, was definitely something that I felt good about, because I've been sending so many of those types of emails, and I mean, I get responses to some of them, but nothing has really come to fruition.
Right.
And so it can get a bit discouraging.
Right.
But
She's the hiring manager, this woman that you interviewed with today?
Yes.
Wasn't the recruiter. Those bad
Doesn't sound like
recruiters,
those
right?
bad recruiters.
Bad.
Well, look, I think the point is that it was a personal connection, and you followed up.
Mhm.
So, again, they're not always going to work, but I think that personal connection, as opposed to doing a generic portal, which, has no face to it,
Right.
no kind of human connection, the more you can do that, the better
yeah,
are the odds.
that's what I've sort of found, I guess. And
Yeah.
the whole application process is definitely a learning curve,
Sure.
Right.
and something that I think I'm getting better at. I mean, I'm definitely not like an expert at it.
Sure.
But
Nobody expects you to
Yeah.
be,
Right.
right? That's why
You're just out, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you talk to people like us.
exactly.
But you're doing the right things.
Yeah.
The idea is you have to, have the confidence to continue doing what you're doing. Love to see you focus more, even though you have these other passions. You're not talking about them,
Mhm.
so therefore it's unfocused.
Yeah.
But also, things will change, and you're seeing, you sent something out in November and you got a response
Yeah.
4 months later, right? You obviously made an impact on someone that they would hang on to your name and resume for that long.
Yep.
So you are writing something compelling.
Hmm.
And that's often how it happens. I know one of the jobs I got, it took 8 months to, before I reconnected with the gentleman I interviewed with, which was great, but he didn't have a job. And again, sometimes we were just talking before, sometimes you just go on your gut, hey, I haven't heard from this person, or I'm going to just shoot him a quick note. And, that's much more satisfying at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And to Jerry's point, you obviously made an impression.
So this interview was this morning, real time,
Yes,
right?
it was.
So tell the audience, or tell us, how did you prepare?
Mhm.
What did you do to prepare?
Mhm.
And to what extent did your preparation prove fruitful? Meaning, you were asked about things
Mhm.
that you prepared for. Any surprises? So what happened?
I guess to start with how I prepared.
Yeah.
I think of questions that I
Yeah.
think they might ask me,
Of
and then I
course.
write detailed answers, and I practice them. But in not obviously trying not to sound rehearsed.
Right.
But,
No script, if
yeah.
you can avoid it.
Yeah. I mean, I also my prep document has 3 tabs. So one is like notes. So things that the job description includes, and how my past experience
Yeah,
has
that's great.
connected to it. And then the second tab is those questions that I've prepared, and kind of bringing in the stuff from the notes document to talk about my experience and
Mhm.
answer the questions that they have. And then the last one is questions I have for them.
Good.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I can sometimes struggle with in interviews is really like talking about those experiences, and bringing them up in a way that I guess is succinct enough.
Yes.
And shows the impact that I've had. So, I mean, in the interview that I did this morning,
Yeah.
She asked me about my background, which I have.
How long did you get, by the way? How long?
How long was the
30
interview?
minutes?
It ended up being 50 minutes.
Okay, that's
good.
always
Good.
That's a good
Did
amount.
did you know it could be that long, or did you sign up for 30, or?
She hadn't specified. The
okay.
Zoom meeting that we had was like a 40-minute one, but then.
Back in November.
No, this
no.
was
Today,
today. Yeah,
But
and-
you went past that.
But then we went past
That's
it.
Cool.
Yeah, so I thought that might be a good sign.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
so she asked me about my background, and then the interview wasn't really like question answer. It was her talking a lot about the job, and
Yeah.
and then
Conversation.
yes, and then me just kind of tacking on to
Right,
her.
but did you tell us, Did she spend most of the time?
Yeah, I think that's something that I wasn't expecting, and something I wasn't exactly sure how to navigate in the moment.
What would your suggestion be? 'Cause
Yeah.
Here's the broader theme on this, right? We've talked about this. Every interviewer is different.
Mhm.
And I like to tell anybody I'm helping, in the first 3 to 5 minutes of the interview, you should make a mental note. Oh, I'm dealing with an interviewer that, A, they're scary or they're not scary, right? They introduce themselves and they're friendly. Oh, they're just going to pummel me with questions, or they just talk a lot.
Yeah.
Do you try to do that?
I had not in the past, and
Yeah.
then when I was reflecting on my interview today, I
Yeah.
was thinking about how that is something I need to
because
implement.
you then,
You
is
need
this
to
fair,
adapt to
Barbara?
it,
I mean,
yeah.
Mhm.
you don't change your interview approach,
Right.
but you make a note and maybe you adapt in some ways.
Mhm.
What do you
Yeah.
think, Barbara? I mean,
Yeah, look, I mean, you want to be able to control part of the interview if
Yeah.
that's possible. It's hard when the person interviewing you is talking a lot, but it also gives you a sense that they're comfortable with you and they want to give you a lot of information. I mean, again, there's all different approaches sometimes. But look, I think, when I think about your ballet background, you could at least say, and again, a lot of interviewers don't even give you time at the end for like, hey, do you have any questions, which would be nice, right? But if you weren't able to get your 2 bits in about, hey, one of the things I'm really proud of, right? 'Cause one of the things I thought you were going with was how do you sort of talk about what you do but not be boastful, like overly boastful.
Sure.
But I think you can do it in a nice way. Like one of the things I'm really proud of that I think I bring, there's a thread through my experiences and my background are the things I learned when I was a ballet dancer. I'm making this up, but here are those 2 things, or here are those 3 things that really has served me well in every job I've been in, even the different schools and the different operating environments that I've worked in. So you can thread that in. If you don't have a chance to do that in an interview, to Bill's point, you could always send, when you send your thank you note, you could say, look, one of the things that I just wanted to make sure I had gotten across to you is not just, my interest, and obviously, it piqued as you talked more about the role, but, here are the things that I feel particularly good about, and again, it's short and sweet,
Okay.
but it's your chance to get a little bit more in
Yeah.
if the interviewer doesn't give you that space, and that can happen.
Yeah, one of the things that really stood out to me when we met was in speaking about what we should do. You were bringing up things like, should we self-publish or should we look for a publishing deal? And then I didn't know, right? And we sat in on meetings together with publishers, and you started sending me links. You started sending me links to self-publishing websites. You started sending me articles. You started really taking control of the situation, and that displayed a lot of confidence to me. And when we got to the point where it was time to go, I had no qualms about working with you. And that's kind of what you have to do in an interview.
Yeah.
You have to really show them, hey, I'm confident. And the way to do that is to share real life experiences. Because as you know, that gives you credibility, right? So we're back to the Vic. Nobody knows it better than AnnaClare, but you can display your value with intent and credibility and, of course, confidence. And that's exactly what you were doing when we first met. So I was like, we're working together. That's it. And it's not easy, but you have to inject that into your interviewing process.
Yeah, I think that, is definitely something that I try to have come across, but when it's like in such a formal setting, it can get very
Right,
it can.
it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And sometimes recruiters just want to have a checklist, right, of
Right.
things, and it's not really an open conversation where it sounds like the one
Now,
this morning
in
was.
this case, you were speaking to the person that
Yeah,
you're going to be
the
working
decision
for,
maker.
the decision maker.
Yes.
decision.
A lot of times, you'll get somebody that talks about themselves for 30 of the 40 minutes,
Right.
and that might be a good thing. So you have to be confident, like, this person likes to hear about themselves, right? And then they hang up and they say, wow, I really like her. Only because they like hearing about themselves, right?
Yeah.
You never know.
Right.
So, you could take that confidence into your next interview,
Okay.
and if you get a second round, Now you'll be like, okay, we already know a lot about this person. Now let's talk about me, what I bring to the table.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me build on that for
Sure.
a minute. In the question category, right? I always advocate, assuming you know who your interviewer is going to be, which is another issue. In this case, you did,
Mhm.
this woman, right? One personal question, because you've stalked her on LinkedIn, we like to say, right? One personal question, one strategic.
Mhm.
In your outline, preparation outline, that's one of the, it's likely to come up. What questions do you have for me, hopefully,
Right,
right?
hopefully.
One
Yeah.
personal, one strategic, and then you can go from there. But people like to talk about themselves, myself included, right? So if you give an interviewer the opportunity to talk about themselves, 9 times out of 10, they're going to bite at that, and they're going to like that, right?
Yeah.
Most people.
That-
Some may not, to your point, Barbara.
Yeah,
give
it's hard
you
to read
the
sometimes.
opportunity, but you're making that judgment early on in the interview.
Mhm.
I'm going with the personal question here that I prepared because I think this interviewer
Mhm.
is going to enjoy that opportunity, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And so to get away also from script, if you did a lot of prep, I like to turn all that script into bullet point prompts.
Okay.
And the prompts are, when they ask me why I'm interested in this company or role, I've done a lot of research, but the 2 prompts, so I can deliver it authentically,
Mhm.
are A and B.
Okay.
And you only go with A and B.
Right.
Because you might have pages of stuff, you might remember it,
Mhm.
but you don't want to forget A and B.
Yeah, I've been bolding specific
Yeah.
things in paragraphs, but I feel like that might work better for just
Just take all that stuff and turn it into, I like to say, 2 to 3 bullet points
Mhm.
on each thematic category that I'm likely to be asked questions on.
Mhm.
Right.
And
There's
see if
no
that
way
works.
you can get everything in.
Oh,
Yes.
So when you
No.
try, you stumble, you start thinking about what should I say,
You ramble.
you ramble. Just have your points, and if they want more, they'll ask you more.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
you just get it out, what you feel is a priority, based on what you know about the interviewer, based on what you know about the company, and what you know about the role.
Yeah.
That's all you
that's
can
helpful.
do. Yeah, they can't, listen, in 40 minutes, you can't get all of the information you need. So what they're looking for is not necessarily the right answer. They're looking for someone who's reliable, who can think on their feet, who answers the question that's asked.
Mhm.
Sometimes you're asked a question, it's yes or no. And you tend to start in, not you personally, but in general, we tend to start in on, well, it all started in 1998.
You've lost them, yeah.
Right. And that's not what the question was.
Succinct,
Mhm.
sincere,
Yeah.
authentic, right?
Yeah.
But you brought this up earlier, Barbara. Let's reiterate: storytelling.
Yeah.
Storytelling, right, is a wonderful way because it has, in an answer, a beginning, a middle, and perhaps an end to the story.
Well, and you sort of started with that, right? Again, you have to have an interview that gives you that space. But hey, I was dancing it too. This is what it taught me over the years. Here's some of the things that have really stuck with me as I've grown and developed, whether it's on the editorial side or whatever it is. And those are things I feel really proud of, but I definitely have that foundation and just that's part of your story,
Mhm.
right? And it's authentic. You speak from the heart when you talk
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
I'll add one other point to that, because you always get the question said different ways, right?
Mhm.
Walk
Why?
me through your resume.
Yeah.
Tell me about yourself. Talk to me about your experiences, right? So here's a little tip that might be helpful. Today, yesterday, tomorrow. Tell that story, because it has to be succinct, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
If you've got
Right.
a 30-minute
Right.
or whatever, you got 90 seconds to spit that out,
Mhm.
right? So think about it this way, storytelling. Today, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you here, right? Yesterday, I'm coming from these experiences and stuff. tomorrow. And that's why I'm so interested
That's right.
in this
And that's
role.
just how I want to pull them together
Right.
for what
You
I do
end
next.
with tomorrow.
No matter what they ask you, they're always really asking you, why do you want to work here?
That's
why
right.
are you the right person
That's
for
right.
this role?
Why should I put you forward
Right.
if they're recruiters?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how they say it, that's the question.
Right. And
Yeah.
they're also saying in their head, can I see myself, if this is the hiring manager, right, working with this
Yes,
young lady,
of course.
AnnaClare, are we going to get along? Does she have the right temperament,
Mhm.
personality?
Mm.
They're saying that in their head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything you could say in the 30 to 40 minutes that convinces them, I want to work with this young lady, now you're on the right track.
Yeah. And clearly, you made an impression with her earlier. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been called back.
Mhm.
Wait, did you get called back?
No.
Well, but you had written
I had
to her.
written to her.
Oh,
yeah,
but
yeah,
how
yeah.
about well, first of all, did you send a thank you yet? I know you had to come here. but-
No, I didn't because I was.
Yo.
But I have.
No, but
You
she can
haven't-
wait a day or two because she knows she's
No,
the first
really?
candidate.
Huh?
So I would say you could wait till Wednesday
Really?
tomorrow.
Okay. Not right away?
I
Send it-
usually send it like within a few
24
hours.
I think
Yeah,
you
no,
can do
you
24,
like-
48. Well, look, I'm just thinking what you've told me, which is you were the first candidate. She did
Mhm.
share that with you, which is
Mhm.
awfully nice. You don't always get that.
Right.
And that you wouldn't be able to hear back from her till early next week.
Mhm.
So I think you could send something out later today or tomorrow to say, you know, I've been reflecting on our conversation. I really
Yeah.
just wanted to follow up. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't
No,
think it's going to
not at
be,
all.
Yeah.
you know, a time bomb that goes off if you don't do it in 24 hours. But, you know, also there's some value in just kind of rethinking the discussion and how, and maybe after today, you know, how you want to just send a short,
Mhm.
sweet but thankful note to her.
Mhm.
And I
And,
think
and
that's
a bit
fine.
personalized, right?
And very
Something
personal.
that
Yeah.
occurred.
Right.
Yeah.
Something she told you about
Mhm.
herself
Yes.
that resonates with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, I really was reflecting on what you said about XYZ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also
That's
you
an
could say, you
authentic
know,
thank you.
Right.
I can, it was very relatable to me because of XYZ.
Mhm.
You know, again, it's short and sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I started drafting an
Good,
email
I'm
on the
sure you
train,
did.
but I've been trying to like think back about the things that she said and
Yeah.
incorporate those. So
Yeah, that's great. Well,
Did you
and-
feel you connected with her
Yeah.
in an interpersonal way?
I think so. I mean, I mentioned that I work well in like fast-paced, high-pressure environments, and she
Right.
sort of said, "Oh, me too. Like that's good to know."
That's good.
Something along those lines, and I mean, she had like a connection with Boston, which is where I'm
Always
from.
good
and so,
to use that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that.
Not a
we-
Red Sox fan, is she? You
I don't know.
Tease.
But
Are
well,
you?
I honestly don't follow sports, but my family.
All right.
Your
Good
family,
answer.
yeah.
Very diplomatic.
Very
answer.
I
Yeah.
thought she was going to say a Montreal Expos fan.
Oh, they
yeah.
don't exist
No,
anymore.
they don't.
Where did they move to?
They're the Washington Nationals.
Oh, are they?
But we
Right, right.
digress.
Okay, right. But you see where we're going here,
Mhm.
right? And so making that interpersonal connection.
Yeah.
So we got a few minutes left here. Let
Mhm.
me ask you something we talked about with Barbara earlier. Do you feel in any way dismayed, disgruntled, like the New York Times article that we were referring to, as a young professional, recent grad, wanting to get started? What's your mindset as we sit here today in April?
I think I come from like, well, it definitely depends on what you're going into. Like, I think my peers who are going into finance or like more business related industries, from my understanding, have had an easier time getting jobs just because those paths are so
Clear.
concrete.
Yeah.
They're defined.
They're defined.
Well
Yeah.
More
And
defined,
so
yeah.
when it comes to like my background in like an arts school, like it's not, because it's not as clear cut. There's a lot that I went into, like, or I graduated just not knowing that much about
Mhm.
how to approach the search, even networking, like how that could work.
Right.
And I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily dismayed, maybe like a bit discouraged, but when it comes to, well, let me think. I mean, That's a hard question.
Yeah, you want to get started. I'll help you
Yeah,
on that. You want to
yeah.
get started in your career,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
You want to find, and it won't be forever, right? You want to find that first opportunity,
Yeah.
which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And you've already told us you've got areas of interest.
Mhm.
Doesn't only have to be this,
Yeah.
but entertainment and literary and writing and project management and talent, you know,
Yeah.
have all sort of emerged.
Mhm.
And I would imagine if I'm you, you want to get started in your career.
Yeah, and I will say, like, I think I wish that I had known, like, I wish I had the knowledge that I
Right.
do have now
Sure,
a year ago.
sure.
Obviously,
It's a
that's
process. It's
yeah.
a process.
and like, I don't know. That's just how it shakes out. But
And you're not alone there, I don't
Yeah.
think at all.
And even if that was available to you,
You
that
still-
doesn't mean you would have
Right.
reached
Right.
out to find out.
Right.
I'm sure McGill has somebody sitting there that will help you with all of this.
Yeah.
And you didn't know, or you didn't care to know.
yeah, exactly.
You were doing something else,
Mhm.
which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
But how do you know
just
they'd
ha-
even be good? You don't know. I mean,
Well, I mean,
if she went to Fordham and visited Graham
Jerry.
Connect,
But you know, job searches are hard.
Yeah.
Let's just put it out there. And they are a process. There's ebbs and flows, or you kiss a lot of toads, you know, and then, then the right thing comes, and you learn as you go through it. I don't know that there's a shortcut through that. I
no,
just don't
and
think
that's
there
what
is.
makes you a better employee.
Of course.
That's
yeah.
what makes you who you are in your professional life.
That's right.
Handing it to you is, there's something to be said for that, certainly, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you're learning anything.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think because the first however many internships I had, I got like pretty quickly. This has been really informative because I've gone more in depth into the process and really had to like do extensive research,
Sure.
which has allowed me to be more informed when I'm applying for things.
yeah,
So
and the stakes are a little bit higher,
Right.
right? Because this is kind of for real,
Mhm.
right? At least for now,
Yeah.
the stakes are, and I'm sure the stress, like everybody else, right? Your colleagues, the stress levels are a little bit higher because you graduate, you want to get on with it,
Yeah.
right? And you're getting closer. So, give us what you're most feeling positive about right now, and your greatest frustration.
okay.
Both end. Positive.
Positive. Well, I'm feeling positive about the trajectory that I'm
Okay.
on.
All right.
I think since January, I guess I've amped up the networking and the applications, and I mean, I got the interview today, which I think
Mhm.
is perhaps a testament to that work. But yeah, I'm feeling good about where I'm heading.
Good.
And the process that I'm going through to get there.
Good.
And then frustration
Yeah.
is really just, I mean, I guess like that sending in all of these applications
Sure.
and never hearing back.
It's a lot for return on investment that sometimes is not as clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, even reaching out to the recruiters and people at the company that I may have a connection with, like, I don't know, like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Obviously, it hasn't like gotten me a job yet, but
Right.
yeah, I guess that the biggest frustration is
Yeah,
You-
so think about it like this, okay? If you're applying to all these roles, you could probably expect a 1% response rate.
Mhm.
Most people today are getting 0%,
Mhm.
and you're almost at 5%. So take that for what it's worth.
That's true.
Maybe we can bump that to 6.
That would be
How
great.
about 15%?
Yeah, no, we can do a lot to
Yeah.
get you more noticeable, but have that degree of confidence that you're doing something right.
Mhm.
And, it's a tough job market, no doubt about it. But I guarantee you, in a few years, you'll be talking to the younger version of yourself and saying, don't worry, it took me a year to get a job, and now look at me.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
But it's it's easier to say
Right.
then than it is now when you're going through it.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So I think one of the things we've been talking about, if this wasn't too hard for you to do, right? And Jerry was relatively kind to you, right? In crunching your resume. I think we'd love to follow your progress if you'd be willing to come back or Zoom with us, depending on where you are at the time, because you have us invested now, right?
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. We want to see your success. You know, we this is what we do. So we'd love to follow along, and then you can come back and tell us what happened and how it happened, and that would be great.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Great idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for coming today. We know you traveled from Montreal, right, or Boston, sorry, to get here, and you got to go back, right, soon. So we're going to let you out of here in a couple of minutes. But we appreciate the time and the process that you're going through, and being open to some help on the journey, right? Which
And sharing it with us.
Yeah.
Really.
And whoever is going to watch this, whoever's
But
out
it speaks volumes.
Yeah.
That you're willing to tell us all of this on camera and on a podcast, and maybe we'll help someone else.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Barbara, thank you again for
it's just
spending
been fun.
the time
Thank
with
you.
us
Yeah.
Thank
this
you.
afternoon.
Barbara, you
and
have to
today's-
come back.
I will.
We
No
could
problem.
We could do 10 more episodes.
We could talk about just one topic in one session.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, this was great. I guess we'll get it out there soon enough, right?
Right.
Great.
And thank you for those watching and listening to Spilling the Career Tea, Season 2.
Let's go.